is king.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Moritz Koch. I'm CEO of Commerce Plus. I have the difficult task to move all of your minds away from the community things about the technical aspects of Typo 3 to the business topics of today. And as I'm an e-commerce guy, I may use some different words than you use every day. I hope we can still understand. We also do some Typo 3 projects, but our main business focus is on e-commerce, and this is really where we are at the link between content and business aspects of the things we all spend our extra hours for and everything. So, who is Commerce Plus? Just one slide. A few of our employees. We're about 100 people. In Hamburg, Hanover, and Berlin. We are a pure e-commerce agency. And what we do is we design, build, and run digital sales platforms for our clients. These are manufacturers, retailers, and other companies that sell goods online. So business aspects are very important for us. Today's talk is about content is king. And just to give you one quote to start with, if they don't buy your content, they won't buy your product. This maybe puts it into one line where we can see, okay, it is very important to think about how to present a product in order to be able to sell, and with that to generate business. In business, at least in Germany, for example, seems to be easily to get because growth in the market is very strong, but really not everybody is taking part in that growth. Some players in the e-commerce market are even decreasing with their revenue numbers, but the overall market is going up. So the critical thing to be considered is how to be part of that growth. What can you do? And we always come from the audience. We always come from the customer, and this is the way we then come to content. And we believe that in order to be successful, you need to wow your audience. I mean, you can't just, have people in front of their computers or their mobiles once they're on their websites and they say, well, okay, this is an okay website. I mean, I can find some products, maybe I need them, but I'm not thrilled. I'm not enthusiastic about what I can see here. And what we try to do is, and every day when we work, is really to put this wow factor on everything. And if you can do it right, this has some results, and also other people are talking about it. So I have some sites for you where some quotes, where they say, okay, the single most important thing most websites can offer to their users is content that those users will find valuable. So it's not only about, being able to present a great video, for example, or great imagery, but it's important to focus on the value for the customer so he is really convinced about what you have to offer, and with that comes the business. There's some good examples of people and companies focusing on good content, but the question always is, do they really add value and do they generate business of it? And one of the cases, for example, of course, is Red Bull. They invest tons of money into online content, but the question is, do they generate business out of this? Maybe indirectly, because they built up the brand Red Bull and everybody knows those little cans that you can buy everywhere these days, but there's at least no direct link, so they don't generate direct value out of the whole content investments they do. So if you put it a little more together and engage users around the article and you really make a good job, you can really generate great uplifts. I mean, in this quote, for example, it says that you can even generate factors of 5 or so if you really make your job right. And if we think about a project, I mean, this is all about, where it could go, but sometimes everyday business is totally different, and probably all of you know this. because we all have to fight against late content in a project. This is one of the main reasons why projects get into stress. Content is delayed. You will reduce your expectations and your goals, and after all, it's only a normal website that has been generated. So what we try to focus on, if we talk with our clients, as we are a service company, we start to talk with our clients about the content from day one when we talk with them and tell them, well, think about what content they can generate and maybe how we can help them with it. But most often it is that they have to generate the content themselves. Most often they have to generate a second project apart from the platform project to really build up this content using a separate team, acquiring content, generating content, and integrating other parties also into the process. So a good thing to keep in mind and to really put it on the line again is we believe that you need to treat your content like a critical business aspect. It's not a side aspect. It's really a business aspect that is critical, and we are convinced that it's really worth it. And why and how good content is so important for an online business, I want to give you 4 examples. So one aspect, of course, is if you have good content, if you have unique content, you may be able to generate extra traffic by going for SEO optimization, search engine optimization. This is especially important as marketing spendings, if you look at typical CPC marketing spendings, they usually all go up because the competitive environment gets even more intense, and you need to find a way to generate traffic without spending tons of money on it. So think about content with this aspect is very important. But it's not only about generating traffic, but also making about the products that you sell. For example, if you generate business, make them accessible. I mean, once a person sits before a product, and for example, if you have a manufacturer's website and nobody knows your product because it's new, it's very important to really focus on how to present the product so it can be understood and it's accessible and people can take the decision for that product. And especially manufacturing companies are very weak in this usually. They are so focused on building their product, but they are not focused on talking about it and make the customer a nice welcome so they know what the product is really all about and how can use it for them. Third aspect is that if you make it all right and you don't focus on the content of one product, but of all products you have to offer, you can even generate a nice online shopping experience. And this is especially important if you don't only focus on a male audience, but especially on a female audience, where usually there are lots of studies, and I don't want to go too much into this, but women shop differently than men. So if you add extra content, for example, covered by attributes and stuff, and you can, link products and have a nice walkthrough for the customer in order to find the right product for them, it's really an added value again. And the last best aspect I want to mention is that if you generate content that really stays in people's mind, because it's so great, and they can really remember, and they can have a nice experience looking at it and consuming it. It's even an aspect of people, keeping your brand in mind and really sticking to your brand and coming back without extra marketing spendings again. So you see, I'm talking about marketing spendings, I'm talking about enthusiasm, I'm talking about conversion and stuff. So let's put it into some business math, content into business math. So the typical business math we use in e-commerce is this formula, right? So we have traffic, we want to convert the traffic, we want great basket values, and we want low return rates. And all of this, that builds revenue. Of course, there's costs involved, but let's only focus on the revenue side for now. And here are some examples how you can influence every single factor by good content. So I already talked to you about organic traffic, but there's also additional things like recommendations, likes, reviews, and external links that might generate extra traffic for your site if you get your content right. Once the people are on the site and you want to convert them, it's great if you have a great product presentation. What do you have to get right? You need good copy, good attributes, good photos, product descriptions, videos maybe, and landing pages and others that help you to really make the product accessible and convert the traffic you generated in the beginning. Another aspect is basket value. Once a person buys a product, you want them maybe to buy 2 or 3 products at once because logistics costs are always part of the equation also. So what can help you with this? This can help you. You can gain extra on the basket value if you think about cross and upsellings, categories, and the like, and links between products that can help people find the next best product also for them. For example, an accessory product to the base product they are buying, and they will find this and they will perceive it as an extra value for them. And when you think about return rates, and we work for clients in the fashion area, shoe area, and the like, they have return rates of 50%, maybe more. So it's very important to think of how can you decrease the return rates. So thinking about product information in detail, focusing on videos where you can see, the pockets within a jacket or on the outside of a jacket or whatever. Or for example, if you think about a boot, it's very important to really see the length of the boot. Is it going all the way up to the knee or only halfway? So you need to think about the photo quality, for example, size and vocare labels and all the like, in order to get some extra on return rate. So these are some examples of how content can really help you with your business math on an e-commerce portal at least, or any other portal where you generate business that has these major factors in the equation. So how can you what's the impact on our work as agencies, as developers, or as portal owners in order to really get it all straight? So the way then we cluster the whole thing is we think about e-content categories coming from an e-commerce perspective, of course. So we start with a product on the left-hand side, and we have primary content on the product. Usually this is handled by a product content management system, and so there's product information, copy, photos and videos, pricing, and all that in there. But this is not enough. Usually we need secondary content of reviews, ratings, cross-sellings, all the like. Maybe brand portraits if you have different brands that are behind the products that are sold, recommendations, guidance tools, whatever, that we consider at secondary content, which has the main factor of generating traffic towards the product. You can see this in the bottom, right, in the buying cycle. And on the right side, we have additional content categories that help people to generate an extra awareness or get their awareness for your product, for your assortment. So this is about campaigns, blogs, social media, specials, landing pages, and the like. This is also, from a content perspective, it's a content category to be thought about. And some of this also has to do with platforms like Typo3, but also can be handled differently. So these are all the types of content that you might think about, and then make it part of your online strategy with a focus on content. And how do all these, these are so many aspects of content, so many types of content, so many categories of content, but you need to all put together it as a whole site now, so it's not, an arrangement of pieces only, but it works together and it's a good customer experience, but because only with a good customer experience, in the end, you will be successful from a business perspective. So let's look at an e-content model step by step from an e-commerce perspective again. And the center of the whole thing is the product, right? If you want to generate business, you want to sell a product. And we thought about making a product accessible. So we need some copy, for example, describing the product, right? It's quite linked right to the product. Maybe a photo and video would help. Talking about the boot, for example, I made this example earlier. Add some extra attributes in order to classify the products also once people compare products. For example, about the size or color, these are all attributes. Price is important, of course. Sometimes the price is very simple for a product, but sometimes price vary by product variant, and it's important to manage this and get this well aligned also for the client, for the customer. And then you might be thinking about some extra promotions in order really to activate customers where they are more in a lean back position. They say, well, this is a nice product, a nice copy, a nice video, but I'm not yet thrilled. And if you add in a promotion, it might get the immediacy of buying now. And this is of course important for generating business. And there might be others. So think about a portal now. All this information will be put, as we call it, primary content. This will be put onto the product detail page, PDP. This is very simple, and I will give you a nice example of that later on. The second category I want to talk with you again is then the secondary content, and these were the following. These are all derived from the page before. And where do we put these? These can be put around the product detail page or on things we call product listings, categories, and landing pages. So these are all pages within a portal that lead the client to the product they like. And brand portraits, for example, help them decide the brand they like. Ratings help people to find the product that might be best among a few within a portal. Accessory products might help people to find the necessary accessory recommendations, and the like do the same. So we're thinking also and talking about content is not only generated to be placed into one page, but is all around and leads the customer to their decision. And you can think one step even further. And talking about additional types of content where you reutilize the secondary content and enrich it by advisory and inspirational content and generate basically the traffic for the portal, if you get all that right, by social media, for example, by ad mails, by your press activities. Maybe you can even add some store insights from your retail business also in order to work on this factor. So this is quite a complex surrounding of content pieces, how it all works together, but it all comes from one focus, and every piece has to take its role in the whole model of e-content. So this is the way we think about it. As we're on the business track, I thought we might also talk about the real business impact measured in euros if you get all this right. So is it really worth it? And what's the value, maybe, that can be generated? And what's the budget, again, for the next project if you get all this right? So let's do an example calculation here. What I put here is a typical simplified profit and loss statement of an online retailer. So this is just reduced to one order, okay? So we have a profit and loss position for one order. The order starts with a basket value in the top left corner. So we think, let's say, it's maybe a fashion retailer. They sell goods for on average 100 euros per order. So, of course, they need to buy the product. And if you include some discounts and typical gross margins within that field, the cost of goods sold adds up to, let's say, 60 euros. So that's 60%. Then the goods have to be brought to the customer. They need to be handled and fulfilled, this order. That's maybe 10 euros per order. Also covering DHL or whatever, UPS, in order to send the goods to the customer. Then we have returns at a rate for about 50%. We're talking about fashion business here. So that's €5 per parcel, but only at a return rate of 50%. So that's €2.50. Add some money for performance marketing, because you cannot only rely on SEO and stuff, but you probably need some search engine advertising, maybe performance display advertising, whatever. So typically we see it with our clients, they invest about 10% of revenue, and there's 10% other cost, platform cost, management cost, all that. So if everything works right, this retailer has a margin in euro per order of about €7.50, which is a good margin for an online retailer. Lots of online retailers are losing money these days, so they have a negative number down there, but some of them are earning money, so it might be that they earn 7.5%. So what can we do to this equation with good content? For example, we can think about the basket value. Can we increase the basket value? And if you add better cross-selling, for example, it's not impossible to add, let's say, 10% to the basket value. So let's put 10% on the basket value. With good content, people might also not be focused so much on buying products within the sale category and buying it at 30% off or something, but maybe sometimes buying at full price. So we think of it might be able to generate some extra value on the discounts or on less discounts. By better content. So maybe we have a 10% factor on the 20% on the left side. So this adds up with the cost of goods and a little more complicated formula to 63.80 then. Handling and fulfillment is the same. Returns might be a little less because you might have better size information and stuff. So 10% factor on that, another 10% on conversion that reduces costs of performance marketing. And if you add this all up, you might really have a huge effect of about €15 on the bottom line. So €7.45 additional margin to be reinvested in your next content project. And this is really good news, because if you have a retailer who has, let's say, 500,000 orders a year times €7.45, this is really a big project budget for the next year of, this is really a 7-digit budget, and it's great, you can invest it into generating, investing it into your content management capabilities, into better copy, into better attributes, into better tools, better videos, better photos, whatever, and maybe you can extract another 10% in the next year. So there's really a business logic behind the whole thing, how you can add value by better content in e-commerce. So maybe this is all a little abstract, and we need to go down to some examples here, what you can do. And what I would like to show to you is 2 examples that we, I think it's about a year ago, we developed for a prospect. We didn't win the pitch, but we were still so convinced on this content model we generated here that I just wanted it to show to you. We did this for Engelhorn, who are about in this area. And what you see here on the right-hand side is a product detail page. I talked to you so much about the categories. Let's more, look at it into more detail. So we have a possible product detail page here for a typical fashion retailer. This is not there's nothing special here, but the additional content comes below. So we have very nice copy describing this article. We maybe even have some additional information by a person talking to you about the product and giving you a personal recommendation. Adding some more information on the brand, Drycorn in this example. Adding cross-sellings and styling tips maybe, and the way to use it. And adding also the possibility to talk about the product to a person. This is not really content, of course, but more functionality. So and on the left-hand side, you'll have additional products also. So we thought this might be a good idea to help the people decide for a product once they are on the product detail page. But the technical concept behind this, which looks so easy, is quite complex, especially if you think about rolling it out onto 10,000 articles. It's not really, you need to get some things really right in order to make this manageable. So this is not a standard product detail page for an online fashion retailer anymore, but it's really enhanced. So this is an example maybe of how you can put things together, and after all, it's very nicely presented to the consumer, but you also need to think about how can we use content in order to drive the user to the content, to the product detail page. So I have another example here that we generate for the sports category using video content, for example. So what you see here is a screen design for the start page that really tries to involve you into a world of free climbing and add this with some product information, but see for yourself.
Come on. Yeah. Getting all warm. Come on. Come on. Good. Nice. Come on. Come on. Get the fuck out of here.
It's really, really like disheartening and frustrating when you put everything you have into a piece of rock and then you have nothing to show for it, you know?
It was too cold, it was snowing, it was sleeting, so it's like, all right, what are we gonna do?
It's some of the best boulders I've ever climbed on, but literally surrounding it is some of the worst rock I've ever seen, so you just have to really search out the true gems.
Should we go look at the boulders? West, see?
Most of the time, the most beautiful walls are just completely blank. So it's a fine line between finding that and finding gold, you know?
We want to find new things. I want to find like a new place that no one's really ever been to.
I think that there is something artistic in the actual act of bouldering, of finding these boulders, and a sense of searching for something beautiful and meaningful like that. Even when you top out on a boulder problem, you're not finished. That sense of a kind of aesthetic quest that's never ultimately fulfilled. It's a funny game.
I mean, wouldn't it be great if all boring storefronts of today would have this kind of inspirational content to really, help you find the right product for your next trip to your next, climbing session? Most of them are really so boring. That's really a shame. But well, this really made me dream. I'm not a climber, but I'm more of a windsurfing guy and stuff. So imagine a windsurfing video on this and stuff. So it really makes you dream once you start to think about a product. And of course, Engelhorn is a company who wants to sell stuff, of course. But maybe they will, with thinking this way, they could add extra value and help you find the right product for your next trip. And you will experience it as an extra value, and you might come back next month all by yourself and see, will they have an extra cool video in order to make myself dream for the next weekend I'm going to plan, and all right, I'll buy those extra climbing shoes no matter the price. Okay, so these were two examples of how content can be used in a business aspect, and it all needs to be managed. So the last thing I want to talk to you about is now more to the platform and technology side. What you have to get straight to really make this happen, because of course it's a lot of work. How to get there? So, as I told you, we start always to think about the product first, and what we find with a retailer usually on the left-hand side is only master data. This is nothing, really. I mean, it's an article number. It has some unreadable and for the customer not valuable information about the product. It's most often comes out of the production or buying process of a company, and they use this kind of data in order to make, for example, their brick and mortar business run, or their B2B sales business, depending if it's a manufacturer or a retailer. But master data is almost unusable for a great online experience. So we need to go quite a way in order to have good e-content in the end. But which way to go? What to think about on the way of enhancing the master data to get good e-content in the end. And some aspects I already had in this talk already. So if we go the step-by-step route, we add some additional product information, some of this primary content I talked about earlier with photos, videos, copies, attributes, references, and the like, using a product content management system. So this is this PCMS. There are lots of solutions of using a product content management system for the like. We even talked within the agency of using maybe Typo 3 even as a platform to build our own, because the product content management systems that we saw in the market, almost all of them didn't really meet our needs. But there are ways of going this way, but it's very important, and it's a big project to set up a product content management system and then acquire all the content for, let's say, 10,000 products in order to be able to generate good content. Next thing is that you usually need the web content management system to add extra content, this secondary and inspirational content, for example, taking in brand portraits, campaigns, and specials. And because this information has a totally different structure and a totally different base than the content that comes or that is related to the master data of a product. Because a brand portrait, of course, doesn't have an article number, but the master of this is the brand itself. A campaign has another primary key, so you have a different structure, and we found a web content management system is best suitable to help us with this, and Typo 3, for example, is one of the systems we use for that. But this is not enough. If you think about ratings, reviews, and cross-sellings, for example, these are usually taken in by taking extra services. Sometimes those are software as a service platforms or other platforms that you use in order to aggregate this kind of content, and it all comes together, and it now all needs to be linked in order to make a good online experience using good e-content. So, I mean, we're talking about several projects here, right? We need a project about the master data. This is pretty easy. It's only interfaces. But we have the product content management project, we have the web content management project, and we have the integration of the services only to get the content straight. So it's a lot of work. And but I hope that I did not only show you that it's a lot of work to get the content straight for really business relevance, but that it's really worth it, and that you can make a difference if you look at the math and the equations and the profit and loss statements that I sketched up earlier, that all this work that we all put into this area is really worth it from a business perspective. So this is the message for this keynote. Content is king, and I want to close with telling you, enjoy the day today and have nice sessions across this business day, which is new for this conference, as I heard. I hope you saw that it's really worth it thinking about the business aspects of content. Thank you.